Shalom, shalom. I want to start off this video by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders, a great millstone, while I learn this truth 100% according to the Bible. I also want to say shalom to the elect, the 144,000 men, prophets, the servants scattered abroad, the four corners of the earth. And shalom to the Akwaf, which are you sisters that are sincere in your children. Shalom. And in today's video is going to be talking about Akim having self-control, because we understand that we're in a very serious battle, brothers and sisters, you know. And I'm just speaking personally from what I'm enduring and what I'm going through as of this moment, but also to you other brothers and sisters, because I know that even though we're all going through different things, you got certain brothers that endure and experience and go through certain things that are similar, you know. As it tells you, there's no new thing under the sun. So everything that we're going through, ultimately, you know, you got brothers and sisters that are ultimately going through these same exact things or certain situations. But we know that Satan, because we know that we're in a spiritual battle, as it tells you in Ephesians 6:12, you know, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual wickedness, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, you know, roughly paraphrasing it. But we know that we're wrestling against principalities, spiritual demons on the left-hand side, and they're fighting against brothers. You know, and ultimately what they're trying to do is to get you to crash out. You know, that's what, and crashing out is a word, you know, basically what the young generation use for basically like getting you to act out of manner, getting you to lose self-control, getting you to do certain things. And that's how Satan works. He tries to get you, he tries to attack you through your mind, you know, and that's what he's sending all the attacks at. But that's why it's important for brothers and sisters to ultimately to be guarding in the spirit, man. You know, that Ephesians 6:10-18 is very important in these times we're living in. And matter of fact, I'm going to just go to those. I did a video similar to this yesterday, but, you know, that's just what the Spirit want me to bring out. You know, for us brothers and sisters to be strong in this truth, man. Be stronger in the Lord. Because like I said, we got a lot of spirits that are fighting against us, trying to pull us out of this faith, man. You know? A lot of people, you know? So this is Ephesians chapter 6. I'm going to start at verse 10. It said, finally, my brethren, be strong in the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, and in the power of his might, right? So we can't trust in ourselves in these times, brothers and sisters, especially knowing how evil the world is that we're in. We got to be fully putting our trust in the Lord. By all means, you know, in every situation you may find yourself in, whether you're in an uncomfortable situation or whatever it may be, you know, you're dealing with pressure or stress or all type of different things coming from you from this world, you got to trust in the Lord. No matter what, you got to be strong in him. And that's through your faith, which is what the Lord gives us. You know, that's our gift, you know, faith in this truth, man. You know, as we know, faith is a gift, as it says in Ephesians 2:8. For it is for by faith are you saved, and that not of yourselves, it is the gift of the Heavenly Father, man. Right? Roughly paraphrasing. This is Ephesians 6:11. Put on the whole armor of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, that you may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil, man. Right? And when you go into that word wiles, it goes into the tricks, the cunningness, because ultimately, like I said, Satan is trying to get you out of your square. He's trying to attack your mind, send certain negative things through it, try to get you to go off, trying to get you to have negative thoughts towards people. These are all of the things that he does, right? And this is what we deal with. That's why you got to constantly be praying, brothers and sisters, you know, as it tells you in 1 Thessalonians 5:17, pray without ceasing. You know, you got to go on fast, you know, just me speaking personally, you know, going on fast. I'm talking about, man, how intense the battle is getting, how these demons are ramping up on these people, man, out here. You got to fast at least. You got to always try to be in the spirit and being closer to the Lord, because this is the time now more than ever that we got to be close to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. You know, seeing everything that's going on, seeing how people are behaving, seeing that everybody out here don't got the right state of mind. They're being controlled by these demons. People just bugging out, man. So we got to ultimately be in the spirit at all times, right? And I'm going to get this precept. This is verse 12. The reason why we must put on that full armor, right? Because like I said before, we're wrestling against spirits. You know, wrestling against Satan. He's trying to ultimately to trick you off your swell. He's trying to sift you as wheat, as he tried to do to Apostle Peter. You know, he's trying to sift you, man. And when you go into that word sifting, it basically means like trying to pull somebody out of something. So he knows that we're trying to be in his truth and we're taking it seriously. He's going to throw every type of thing at you, the whole kitchen sink, to try to get you to fall out. But that's why it's important for you to have his armor on, man, because you have his armor, it won't be as easy for him to pull you out, man, you know, by doing these certain things, which it is Yahweh Bashim Yahushua have given us the, you know, armor and to guard and to protect ourselves, man, in this dark-ass world, right? And I'm going to go to verse, you know, I'm going to just read verse 12, because this is what we're fighting up against, brothers and sisters, you know. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, right, but against principalities, demons on the left-hand side, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places, man. You know, this is what us brothers and sisters that are in this truth, that's what we're fighting against. Us hopeful elect brothers and sisters, man. You know, we're fighting up against all these forces. And like I said, they're trying to pull you out of this truth. You know, people trying to, you know, there's a lot of different stuff that's going on, man. That only brothers and sisters that are in this truth, that are taking it serious, that are, you know, fighting up against these principalities, they understand, man, what's going on. Like, it's getting very wicked out here, you know. This is verse 13. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, right? Because we're about to come into some very evil times, man. Like I said, you know, the Lord is really only preparing us for the times that are to come, you know, which are the time of Jacob's trouble, you know, and how evil it's really going to be. Like I said, we're not even seeing everything that the Lord is about to unleash, man. You know, it's going to get way more wickeder and sinister out here. And that's why we're preparing and building ourselves up in the spirit now through Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Lord's will we be able to elect. Because we know it's about to get real evil out here, man. Right? As it tells you in St. Matthew 24:12, and because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. The love of these people is already cold out here. But just wait till the time of Jacob's trouble. All hell breaks loose. Civil unrest, chaos. You know, those times are coming, man. Right? So this is why we're preparing to get ourselves right in the spirit now. Arming up our armor and sharpening our sword now in the spirit, man. So that when these times do come, Yahweh Ratazah, we be able to elect, guess what? We can stand, man. Right? And this verse 14, this is just basically me going into the armor of the Lord, man, because this is what we need, brothers and sisters. This is very important in this warfare that we're in, this spiritual battle, right? It says, stand therefore having your loins girded about with truth and having on the breastplate of righteousness, right? Verse 15, and your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, right? Verse 16, right? And this is very important because, like I said before, we gonna need that faith, man. As I spoke about earlier, faith is a gift that's given unto us by the Lord. It's not given to us of ourselves. We can't make faith occur out of anywhere. You know, it's a gift that Yahweh Bashim Yahushua is going to gift unto his elect. Lord's will we be at those numbers, right? But this is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 16. It said above all, right? So above everything that I just named, right? It said above all, taking the shield of faith, man. That goes to show you how important faith is, you know, and that's what we walk by as brothers and sisters in this truth, as it tells you in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 7. For we walk by faith and not by sight, man. That's what's very important in these times that we're living in, having your faith and your trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man. Right? So it said above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith ye shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked, right? And that's going into what I said earlier, by Satan sending those fiery darts at you, you know, sending thoughts into your mind. Because we're not wrestling against things that we can see, brothers and sisters. We're wrestling against the unseen world. And these forces are coming up against us, man. You best believe that they're working through you, and they're working through everybody that try to get through you or to you. You know, they're working through your family members. They're working through your wife, your kids. You know, whoever that they can ultimately possess and use as a vessel to try to bring mischief into your life, man, or to try to get you to go off. Like I said, that's why it's the importance of having self-control. And you only can get that self-control, right, or that discipline from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, man. The Lord can only give us those things, because without this understanding of the truth, then guess what? We're brute beasts, man. You know, that's why we got to read these scriptures, and the knowledge that we receive from them, we must apply them to our lives. And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, of course, you know. But still, for us other brothers and sisters that are in the truth, when we read these scriptures, we're not just reading it just to read it. You know, these are things that we're actually trying to apply and help ourselves and strengthen ourselves with, man. These scriptures, right? As it tells you in Romans 15:4, the things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. So all of these are different accounts of our forefathers, and all of these different scriptures in here that are to give us the hope and the strength that we need to fight in this battle. That's what they were doing. That's what they were written for, right? So I'm going to read again. I'm going to read verse 17. And it says, and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Spirit, which is the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, right? Because ultimately, remember I said earlier about, reading and having faith and things of that nature, right? If you want to increase your faith, as it tells you in Romans 10 and 17. So then faith coming by hearing, and hearing by the word of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. So you ultimately got to stay grounded in the scriptures, man. You got to stay reading. You got to stay doing all of these different types of things so that you can stay under the confines of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, so that he can have that armor upon you, man, so you can fight in this dark world that we're in, man. You got to be grounded spiritually, man. And you do that by reading the word. And here go verse 18. I'm going to get to that one, another beautiful one, because this is what I said earlier as well about 1 Thessalonians 5 and 17. By praying without ceasing, you got to constantly be in prayer, man. I'm not even going to lie to you. No matter where you are in the world, no matter what you're doing, no matter if you at work, whatever the case may be, you got to always throw up a quick prayer to the Lord, man, because we can never, praise the Lord enough, man, and thank him first and foremost, right? So this is Ephesians 6 and 18. It said, praying always with all prayer and supplication in the Spirit, and watching thereunto with all perseverance and supplication for all saints, right? So you got to constantly be in the Spirit. Like I said, brothers and sisters, we got to constantly be praying. We got to constantly be fasting. We just got to constantly be doing more spiritual things rather than carnal, right? And I'm going to go to these precepts that I got as well, just touching on self-control, because this is how all of these things come into effect. You got to have discipline, man. Because guess what? You either going to be disciplined in the Spirit, or you're going to be disciplined in your flesh. By, giving the flesh all of the desires and all of the different types of things that it wants, ultimately giving over into the wiles, which are the attacks of Satan when he does come, because that's how he comes, right? But you gotta, be armored up in the Spirit, man. And that's where, like I said, that self-control comes into play, man. You gotta know yourself, man. And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, of course. Like I said, of course, every video that I make, I'm speaking to myself, but also to you other brothers and sisters as well. We gotta know ourselves, man. We can't allow certain things to move us, and we can't be easily moved, right? As it says in 1 Corinthians 15 and 58, being unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, roughly paraphrasing, man. So you got to be unmovable, man. Things can't move you and get to you quickly, because like I said, Satan, he feeds off of our emotions, man. He feeds off your doubts, your fears, all of those different types of things, your uncertainties, your insecurities. He feeds off all that, man. And he can attack you through those things if you're not fully armed, So I'm going to get this precept. I'm going to get this precept. I'm going to get out toward this street on, get out those people way. This is Proverbs 25 and 28. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. And that's not what you want to be, brothers and sisters, because that's a person that has no control. And guess what? When you don't have no control, like I said before, you're going to fall for all of the things that come your way. All of the fiery darts which are to try you that Satan throws at you, guess what? You'll fall victim to it when you don't have no discipline and no rule over your spirit, which all of this, like I said, goes into having self-control, man. And we only can get that control from Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, because we can't do these things on our own, man. That's why it's important for us, brothers and sisters, to put our trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Because the Lord is the one that's given us these benefits. He's the one that's given us this power to fight these battles. It's not ourselves that's doing these things, right? As it tells you in John 15 and 5, man. Without me, you can do nothing, man. We can't do nothing without the Lord Yahushua, man. Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Especially fighting in this spiritual battle that we're in, man. This thing is getting intense. Like I said before, by the day, by the hour, things are ramping up. More bullshit is coming at brothers and sisters. Me speaking first and foremost from my experience, I'm going through hell right now. But hey, I know what the Lord said. That's why we got these scriptures as our comforter, to give us hope when we're going through the times of afflictions, when we're going through hell, when we're going through being ridiculed and people coming up against us from all ways. That's when the Lord tests us, man. It says in that's in James chapter 1 verse 2 through 4, man. It said, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trying of your faith worketh patience. And let not patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing, man. Right? So we got to ultimately be happy when we're going through these trials, man, because that's ultimately us knowing that the Lord is dealing with us, right? And when he's putting us through these fiery situations. And it's all to see what you're going to do, man. That's why I said you got to have self-control, man, because if you're not knowing of these things in the spirit, then guess what? You'll give over into him. And guess what? Satan to get over on you, man. You'll fail the test that the Lord is ultimately putting you through. And that's not what we want to do, brothers and sisters, in these times. You know, it's failed tests that the Lord has given us, man, because he's given us these tests and putting us through these things to ultimately strengthen our spirit, man, and preparing us for the battle that's at hand, man, because we about to come into some terrible times, like I said before, you know, and we got to be in the spirit, man. You know, that's the only way we're going to get through this thing. We're not wrestling against flesh and blood. We're in a spiritual war, man, as it tells you in what, 2 Corinthians 10:3, for the weapons of our warfare are not carnal. So we're not wrestling against the carnal, man, so we got to be more spiritually minded, you know, in this thing of ours. So I'm going to go to another precept, you know, just touching on, oh yeah, this is a good one. Romans chapter 12, verse 19, because we need this one, brothers. Because like I said again, Satan is trying to play off your emotions. He's trying to get you angry. He's trying to work through your family members, work through your wife, work through your kids, work through everybody he can work through to ultimately piss you off, get you upset, get you mad to where you're going off and you do something now he can accuse you of. You know, you got to realize that, brothers and sisters, that these demons are trying to trick us out of our position, man. You know, and once you understand that, then guess what? You know how to move. You know how to move wisely and not carnally. You know, not allowing certain things to trigger you, man, because that's what it is. We know that all of these things ultimately are vexing at times. Yeah, they are. You know, I ain't saying that you're going to be perfect all of the time, but, man, you know, brothers and sisters are getting vexed continually by these damn spirits, man, by these wicked-ass people that we got to deal with out here, man. And, yeah, it get burdensome at times. You know, you get tired of it, but then again, we remember the bigger picture, right? Why the Lord is allowing us to go through these things, man. And that is all for a purpose. You know, as the Apostle Paul said in Romans chapter 8, verse 18, for I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not compared to be worthy to the glory which shall be revealed into us, right? So that's talking about the things that are going to come afterwards, right? Which is the spirit, the kingdom of heaven, man. And that's what we're ultimately waiting upon. That's why we know why we're going through the things we're going through, right? It's all spiritual, you know, at the end of the day. So I'm going to get the precept what I got right here. Bear with me. This is Romans chapter 12, just going into, you know, ultimately having that discipline, man, and that self-control, right? This is Romans 12 and 19. I'm going to read it. In the KJV, it said, dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord. And that's what we got to continue to understand and to know, brothers and sisters, that guess what? The Lord is fighting our battles for us, man. The Lord will never put too much on us we can't handle. You know, and at the end, he's going to fight all our battles for us. He's our Lord Yahushua is, you know, praying for some of us brothers and sisters that are the elect. Lord's will we be at that number in the heavens right now, man. So we always got that divine protection that's bagging us up, man. So we don't never got to give over into these different demons, these different thoughts, and all of these different types of things that are ultimately trying to overcome us and overpower us. We can't give over into those things, man. You know, and the main thing to do, like I said earlier, is praying, man. When those demons get to effing with you heavily, brothers and sisters, you got to pray and rebuke them. You got to get them off of you, you know, because that's ultimately what it is. It's trying to do. Satan is trying to throw you off of your pivot, you know, and he'll do it if you allow him, of course, right? But that's when, like I said, self-control comes into play, because not everybody is strong in the mind, man. You know, everybody not strong mentally, right? A lot of people, they go up under these situations and these trials come their way. It breaks them. That's why a lot of people fall out of the truth, because they can't handle the pressure. Pressure busts pipes, as they say in the world, right? But we got to be strong, man. We got to pray for the Lord to put that spirit on us to be strong in the fight, man, right? Against all of these principalities and forces, man. You know? Because it's not going to stop. We're going to be tempted till the day we leave up out of here. To either we, you know, get beamed up in the chariot, Lord's will, or whatever happened to us, man. But we're going to forever be tempted till we leave out of this wicked flesh that we're in, man. Right? So I'm going to read this precept as well. This is James chapter 1. And I'm going to start at verse 19. Like I said, it just goes into having control over yourself. It says, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, right? Slow to speak and slow to wrath, right? Slow to get angry, slow to show emotion. We got to always be mindful of what it is we're listening to, you know, and things of that nature, of course. We got to do all of these different types of things, right? So that's what we want to be focused on more importantly, you know, right? And I'm going to go, right? And it says, verse 20, for the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, man, right? And like I said, when we're going through these tough times and, you know, things of that nature, when it does feel, you know, hard or whatnot, You got to remember at the end of the day, the prayers and all of the things in which it is the Lord have given us, man. The hope that he has given us through the scriptures, man. As it tells you in St. John chapter 16, verse 33, you know, it said, peace I leave with you, you know. Roughly paraphrasing, it said, let me get that scripture. You know, I don't even want to botch it. This John 16 and 33, it says, in the KJV, he said, these things I have spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation, right? Meaning going through hell, being tempted, things trying to ultimately get over on you, you know. But these are the scriptures that we always got to allow to come to our mind, man. When we're going through these things, that the Lord is always with us through it all, man. And we got to know that through faith and believe in that, right? It said, these things I have spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace. In the world you shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world, man. So we got to always remember Lord Yahushua, man, and what the Lord went through. And, you know, ultimately knowing that, hey, he's going to be with us, man, in all of our battles, all of our situations, through all of the temptation and hell and things that we endure and catch in our day-to-day lives. Salakia.